into the far corner inside the Cougar zone, and skating hard after it is Tristan Cruz. Cougars look to break out, however, as Kowalczyk flips it up to center ice and it rolls inside the Fighting Irish zone. The Irish look to clear it to the neutral zone. Janczyk. Now Luke Borth chasing after it inside the Cougar zone for Chicago. And the Cougars looking to set up. Not much of any offensive chances here in the early going. Most of the play has been inside the Detroit zone, but nothing affirmative here. Van Dyke now with a backhand attempt, unable to get it on net, however, and the rebound was deflected up into the netting. And we'll have a face-off inside the Detroit zone with 17:06 left to play here in the first period. No score. Face-off will be to the right of Buchholz. Lenzy on the draw. And Blake Anderson for the Irish. Cougars win the draw. Lenzy's draw again. He's strong on the face-offs here in the early going of the season. Laukkanen keeping it in along the near boards, rings it down low. Puck comes out to the slot area, and Detroit looks to break inside the Cougar zone. They do. Anderson knocked down with a nice hit by Lenzy, and picking up the loose puck is Eric Norman. Norman throws it along the near boards inside the Cougar zone. Cougars look to clear to center ice. Pass missing the connection, however, for Brendan Gestrich. Now the puck comes into the slot. Cougars keep it in at the point. Skating it along the near board, but having the puck intercepted, and now the Irish will dump it in as they go off for a line change. Laukkanen behind his own net. He'll circle out with a head of steam. Moving up over center ice, inside the blue line. Fires a shot on net, and a gut save there by Buchholz. He'll hold on. No one forthcoming for the rebound, but Buchholz not taking any chances. So a nice offensive rush there by Henry Laukkanen, all the way from behind his own net, going into the Fighting Irish zone and firing a shot into the stomach of goaltender Buchholz, and he holds on. Face off inside the Irish zone. The Irish win the draw. Up ahead, skinning in with it is Jacob Smith. Coming in, throws a backhander. And Martinovich able to make the initial save. Puck glide loose in the crease there for a moment, and then he was able to cover up. Ref blew the whistle. We'll have a face-off to the right of Martinovich. 15:59 to play, first period, no score. Cougars win the draw. Gestrich now behind the net. Centering attempt. Oh, that one went right through the crease. I don't think Martinovich saw it. And now coming into the zone for the Cougars is Virgil Delbrasine. He'll throw it behind the net. Irish look to get it out, have some trouble inside their own zone. Peters throws it into the slot area. Delbrasine gets a shot off, and Buchholz able to save that. Now Micah Hawk is going to go after it. We are going to have an icing call, however, on Detroit. Faceoff will come back inside the Detroit zone. So we had a few offensive opportunities there for both teams, with goaltender Martinovich having a puck slide past the crease, and I don't think he saw it on that particular moment. Puck flipped out to center ice. Smith chasing after it for Detroit, and he's able to meet up with the puck, but gets rubbed off the play by Luke Borth in the far near corner. Detroit looking to keep it in along the near boards. Hayes chips it over to the far boards. And puck gets flipped out to center ice now inside the Detroit zone. Janczyk in the near corner of Detroit zone. Now in the near circle, he almost gets his head taken off. And a run. Catch the license plate number there. I believe that was number 18. Frank Barabish for Detroit. As he came in hard and heavy there. And now we're going to get the penalty call. Penalty's actually on Mays. So Mays gets the penalty. That happened before Barabish came in with his attempted check. Cross-checking on Mays for Detroit. So now the Cougars will have the first power play of the game. Lenzy on the draw for the Cougars. To the right of Buckholz. Wins the draw. Mika Hawk, near point. Brings it along the near boards. Hawk trying to set it up. Now Van Dyke, near boards. In the slot, Delbrasine, and a save by Buckholz. Good motion by the Cougars here in the early going of the power play. Down low. Lenzy feeding it, and a streaking Beltrame unable to make the connection. Mika Hawk keeps the puck inside the zone. Lenzy going after it behind the net. Hayes for the Fighting Irish is able to clear it off the glass, and it comes all the way down where Martinovich will leave it for Mika Hawk. Hawk behind his own net. Minute 18 left on the power play for the Cougars. Van Dyke with a head of steam along the far boards. Far circle, fires a shot. That goes behind the goal. Comes up along the near boards. Now rung into the far corner, and chasing after it will be number 5. That's Christopher Hayes for Detroit. And flipping it out of the zone will be Johannes de Jong for Detroit. Going back to play it will be Anthony Beltrame. Beltrame up to center ice, feeding it to Zeb Scheffler. Scheffler in the near corner. He's got Laukkanen on the near point. Back down low, near corner, coming up along the boards. Feeding it back over to Michael Health. Michael Health behind the net, looking for a centering option. Now gets it back to the far point. Health along the near boards. Leaves it to Beltrame. Beltrame moving in. Flips a wrist shot. Puck is loose temporarily with Health running in for the rebound. But Buckholz did a good job of not allowing the puck to get past. The sea of players there, and he was able to hold on. We'll have a face-off to the left of Buckholz with 17 seconds remaining on the power play for the Cougars. Cougars win the draw again, but coming up to intercept it is Jacob Smith, or Sewell, and he'll flip it inside the zone. That was a good play by Sewell for Detroit to take that draw that was won by the Cougars and then actually put it into the Cougar zone. All right, both teams back at full strength. Health skating it in, fires a shot off the pad, save. Rebound is loose, almost in the slot. Referee's calling no goal. The goalie is without his stick at the moment. Puck cleared outside the zone. Towski in the corner. Rubbed off the play, and now Buckholz has his stick back on the other side. Cougars looking to get the puck outside of their own zone. They skate forward. Now with a head of steam, number 22, that's Zach Bishop. Bishop throws it into the near corner. And he tries to feed it into the far point, but Peters was already skating in, so misconnection there for the Cougars. Bishop tips it back inside the Detroit zone. Cody Dombrowski will flip it along the far boards, not out for Detroit. Now the puck gets sent out to center ice. Luke Borth interrupts that play for Detroit, and then he gets hit hard in front of the Cougars bench, but it's an offsides call against Detroit. We'll have a face-off just outside of the zone along the far boards in front of the Cougars bench. With 11:45 to play here in the first period, no score. So Cougars had some early offense on that power play, but then unable to convert. Now firing a wrist shot over the head of goaltender Martinovich. That was Johannes de Jong. Now the puck comes down all the way inside Detroit zone. Almost taken away. Now Detroit looks to clear. Along the near boards. Skating in with it. Anderson fires a shot, and Martinovich will cover it up. As he was down on both pads, caught him near the groin area, he was able to hold on for the face-off, and this draw will be to the right of Luke Martinovich, tonight's goaltender for the Cougars. Barabish will take the draw for Detroit, and Lenzy for the Cougars. Cougars win the draw. Lenzy along the near boards. He'll pass attempt to Gestrich was intercepted by Barabish. And Detroit looks to come in. That might be an icing call. Oh, they're saying they touched it. They'll play on. Laukkanen feeding it. Oh, dangerous pass inside the slot to Lindsay. Laukkanen's going to have to regroup. Looks to throw it behind the net. Norman. Van Dyke along the near boards. Laukkanen in the corner along with Van Dyke. Now Lindsay coming out with it. He gets tripped down, taken down, and that's going to be a penalty on number 21, Jacob Smith of Detroit, tripping as Lindsay was getting ready to have a head of steam, and Smith denied him, but in the process is going to draw a tripping penalty. So the Cougars go back to the power play. This is their second power play. And the Cougars win the draw, but unable to keep it in at the point. Got away from Bishop. Cougars will have to regroup. Peters throws it into Van Dyke along the near boards. Now along the circle. Back out to Micah Hawk. Micah Hawk. And the puck gets deflected inside the Detroit bench. So that draw will come outside the Detroit zone again with 1:42 to go on the power play. As Bishop will come off for the Cougars and Beltrami will come in. So Beltrami and Hawk. Hawk inside his own zone. Flips it around to the far boards to Beltrami. Tip forward to Delbrosine. Back to Beltrami. Skating ahead with it is Van Dyke. Into the Detroit zone, near circle. Along the near boards. Gets it down low to Lindsay. Back to Van Dyke. Van Dyke gets it up top near point to Hawk. Back down to the boards to Van Dyke. Comes into the circle. Tries to feed it into the slot to Delbrosine. But he was covered up. And Detroit clears. Now Van Dyke with a head of steam. Skating up into the Detroit zone along the far boards. Far circle, fires a shot. That was blocked. Puck did not get through. Hawk with a shot. And a stick save. And it goes up into the netting on that shot attempt by Micah Hawk. Stick save by Buchholz. And we'll have a face-off inside the Detroit zone with 9:33 to play in the first period and 50 seconds remaining on the penalty to Jacob Smith of Detroit. Laukkanen tries to keep it in. He pinched. And now taking the puck away and coming in with an offensive attempt. Taken down. And there will be a penalty on the Cougars for sure. As I believe that was Bishop with the push from behind, and he's going to get the call. All right. So here's the play along the boards, coming in with a nice head of steam and getting knocked down from behind. That was the call. Number 23, 22? Yeah, there was Bishop knocking down Cody Dombrowski on that shorthanded attempt. So we'll be 4 aside here for the next 36 seconds, and then Detroit will have a power play, their first man advantage of the game. Dombrowski tries to get to the slot, fires a wrister up over the head of Martinovich and gets knocked into the near corner. Keeping it in at the point, however, was Detroit. And Jarzewski at the near point. He keeps it in again, feeds it down low to Dombrowski. Fires a shot, gets deflected over into the near corner, tried to center it again, unable to make a connection, and now Detroit has a man advantage for the next minute 15. Cougars looking to clear, unable to. Knocked down nicely by Jakrewski of Detroit. Health. He'll throw it all the way down and inside the Detroit zone. Buchholz will leave it there. Having some problems with it. Stolen away by Lindsay. Oh, and the puck is in the slot. Lindsay really trying to gum up the play there for Detroit. Now Detroit finally has a head of steam. inside the Cougar zone. Brendan Peters will flip it off the glass and it'll go all the way down inside Detroit zone. Buckholz again will leave it. This time for Jacob Jennings. Jennings throws it to the near boards to Mays. Mays chips it ahead to another Mays. Now at the point, puck is loose in the slot. Nice flip shot there by Jacob Jennings. It laid in the slot for a little bit, but the Detroit Fighting Irish were unable to generate any rebound opportunities there. And now the penalty has expired. Both teams are back at full strength. Chasing the puck in the corner for the Cougars is Nate Madonia. He'll throw it to the far corner. Up along the boards. Lenzy looking to break out. He's at center ice. He's got a man with him, Gestrich. And Gestrich flips it towards the net. Lenzy looking for the rebound. But then it goes behind the Detroit net, and they'll ring it around. Centering attempt is intercepted by the Cougars inside their own zone. Bishop flips it ahead. Pass is intercepted by Dombrowski. Flips it on net. And that's sticked aside into the far corner by Martinovich. Now looking to clear it off the glass and knocks it out of the zone. Gestrich feeding a streaking Janzik. We have a whistle now. Looks like a roughing call on Detroit. Arnold going to the box for roughing. So Sergei Arnold of Detroit goes to the box, and this will be the third power play attempt for the Cougars. Cougars so far 0 for 2 on the power play, and Detroit 0 for 1. 6:33 to play in the first period. No score. Bishop at the point, flips it over to the far point. Beltrame feeding it on to the near boards. Centering in the slot, Delbercy fires a shot, and Buckholz makes the save, and he holds on. No rebounds given whatsoever. And Buckholz, yesterday's game, I wouldn't say he played poorly. There was the last of the 4 goals that he let up was probably the softest of the bunch, but even that one wasn't a gimme for any sake of the measure. But the other 3 goals scored against him, I think his team didn't do him any favors. Now rebound loose in the slot. Cougars unable to corral it, and the puck gets cleared down. Bishop will chase after it for Chicago. Gets it to Van Dyke. Van Dyke at center ice. He's got a head of steam. 3-on-2 if the Cougars hurry. Dropping it to Lenzy in the slot. Fires a shot. Glove save by Buckholz, and he holds on. So again, the key here for Detroit is they are not allowing any second chance opportunities, and that's based on the rebound control of one Buckholz, Dean Buckholz, standing tall in his net for Detroit. Minute 25 left on the power play, 5:57 for the first period. Beltrame near point. He had the puck knocked out back into the Cougar zone. He's going to have to retreat and skate it up along the near boards. He has a head of steam. Gets around a man at the blue line, but the Cougars were in ahead of the play. Offsides call. A faceoff will come outside the zone along the near boards here. Thanks for joining us for Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. This is Eric Willowite here with your play-by-play. We are live from the Leafs Ice Center in West Dundee, Illinois, home of the Cougars. Cougars still on the power play. And coming in was Delbercine from the far circle, fired a shot over the shoulder and into the netting. We'll have another face-off now with 59 seconds remaining on the penalty to Sergei Arnold of Detroit. So that was last deflected touch by the Cougars, so the faceoff was outside the zone. Delbercine brings it in, fires a shot on net. And Van Dyke shot the rebound attempt off the side. I'm not sure if Delbercine saw Van Dyke streaking on his side. That could have been a good pass attempt and an easy goal for the Cougars. Nevertheless, Delbrasine fired it on net, and a rebound chance was given. Van Dyke, far circle, centering attempt, and holding on of the rebound of the shot from Zeb Scheffler was Buckholz. Again, no second chance opportunity on that shot attempt. So good offensive structure there for the Cougars on that power play. And let's see if they can win this draw. Scheffler on the draw. Puck is loose. Detroit takes possession. Behind their own net. Getting bothered there. It's number 16, that's Adam Rifle. He's trying to knock the play loose. Puck is loose in the slot. Rifle can't corral it, and now Detroit finally clears it down. Martinovich will knock it and leave it there for Micah Hawk. Hawk will skate it up. Feeds it all on the near boards, but out of reach of Henry Laukkanen. Now Laukkanen will flip it over to Rifle. Rifle chips it in on net inside the Detroit zone. Power play over. Both teams back at full strength. And Detroit coming into the zone. That shot attempt was blocked by Barth skates, or shot into Barth skates. Either way, Cougars coming the other way. On net, Rifle centering it into the slot. Detroit comes out with it, dumps it all the way down. This will be an icing call, and it is, as Luke Barth will leave the puck for referee. And the faceoff will come back inside the Detroit zone with 4:03 left in the first period. No score. Some good action here today, as was yesterday's game. A 5-4 contest in favor of the Cougars. Faceoff loose, and Detroit takes possession but not out. Far point kept in by the Cougars. Throwing it behind the net, looking to center was Gestrich. Gestrich now behind the Detroit net, trying to get it out to the far point. Now he'll circle. Circling back, throwing it into the near corner. That puck is picked up by Brendan Peters. Peters with a flip shot, and the save made by Buckholz, and the rebound goes into the far corner. Peters having a good shift here for the Cougars. Cougars keeping the puck in. Good board work here by the Cougars, but now Detroit finally able to clear. Jakoski, gets it through the legs of Borth, but unable to corral the puck. It was Jakoski for the Fighting Irish. Now Janzig will chip it back inside his own zone, and skating ahead with it is Madonia. Madonia, center ice. Now over the blue line. He'll go into the near corner of the Detroit zone. And it'll get rung around to the other side where Scheffler will ring it back for Gestrich. Gestrich and Scheffler in the far corner. And coming up with the puck will be Tristan Cruz for Detroit. He flips it out to the neutral zone. Bishop retreats and throws it along to the near boards. Beltrami will take it for the Cougars. Tipped in by Kowalczyk. It'll go on net, and we'll have a face-off inside the Detroit zone with 2:33 to play. Still no score. So Dean Buckholz facing the majority of the offensive shot opportunities for this game versus his counterpart Luke Martinovich. But Martinovich has had to make a couple nice saves, but again, most of the ice has been tilted heavily inside the Detroit zone. Of course, there have been 3 power plays for the Cougars as well. Shot on net, and a big save by Buckholz on that stuff attempt by the Cougars. Now the puck goes along the near boards. Beltrami looks to keep it in, unable to. Coming out with a head of steam now is Cruz. Cruz throws it into the slot. That puck was intercepted by Bishop of the Cougars. Puck flipped along the glass, but it looks like we're going to have a penalty on Chicago. Getting an interference call. And going to the box will be Kowalczyk for the Cougars. So Alex Kowalczyk going to the box for interference. And this will be a power play for Detroit their second. .202 to play here in the first period. No score as Detroit goes to the power play for their second opportunity. And Detroit takes the draw. Dombrowski gets it over to the far point. That puck got deflected behind the net. Back to the point, near point, Dombrowski fires a shot, tipped. And that tip attempt by Mays went all the way up into the air into the far corner. And now over to the far boards. Back to Dombrowski. Fires a shot, gets deflected by Lindsay as he got his body in the way of that puck and deflected it, not going on net. And now clearing the puck for the Cougars is that's Zeb Scheffler clearing it down inside the Detroit zone. Detroit looking to counter. Out to center ice. And they're having some problems getting inside the zone here, but now they finally dump the puck in, and chasing after it will be Jacob Smith, where he's met by Brendan Peters. Smith still comes away with it, centers it towards the net. And now firing a shot, deflected, and punching it into the corner was Martinovich, and that puck comes all the way out, where Sewell will have to chase after it for Detroit. With 43 seconds remaining on the power play, 44 seconds remaining in the period. Puck still out at the neutral zone. Jasewski with a nice spin move gets the puck over to Jacob Jennings. Into the slot, Jennings, then Mays. Now behind the net. Jacob Jennings near point. Flip shot on net, looking for a deflection with Jacob Smith. But he was unable to get there on time, and now Brendan Peters and Adam Rifle clear the puck down inside the Detroit zone. 6 seconds remaining on the power play, 6 seconds remaining for the period. Mays fires a shot from the far circle, gloved into the far corner. Borth will chase after it, and the horn sounds, ending the first period of play. And after the first period of play, Detroit 0, Chicago 0. The Fighting Irish 2 power play attempts, unable to tally on either one. Cougars with 3 power plays, and again 0 for 3 on the power play for Chicago. So we will take a break here on Fast Hockey Network. You're watching Chicago Cougars hockey. We'll be back for second period action after our break. Thanks for joining us.
Center for Broadcasting is now the Illinois Media School. We've been an institution in the Chicagoland area now for 30 years. Because the broadcasting world is always changing, so are we. Not only are we teaching radio and television production, but now you can learn all aspects of the media industry, like web design. You can even specialize in TV or film, sports broadcasting, and even sales. No matter where you are in the Chicagoland area, we have a campus near you. The Illinois Media School. Be on TV, be on radio, beonair.com. I want to have a job in something I love. I want to have fun and meet new people. I want to be social. The Illinois Media School has so many cool things they offer for me and their students. With the amount of stuff you learn, there's no way you won't succeed. You'll learn how to do a voiceover, how to use camera equipment. I mean, actual hands-on. You can even host your own radio or TV show. All of our instructors actually work in the industry too. So go to beonair.com and start your future in broadcasting today.
High school sports is here, and SportsOnChicago.com, we are ready to provide the best high school sports live coverage all across Northern Illinois. From the first kickoff of high school football to the final spike of high school volleyball, we at SportsOnChicago.com are ready to bring you high school sports live. SportsOnChicago.com and STC Friday Night Lights in a league of our own.
I'm Ben Anderson, and I went to the Illinois Media School back in 2013. Had a great time while I was a student here, was able to get involved with a lot of different programs and opportunities, was able to win 4 awards while I was a student here, and that led the way to success and where I'm at now. I currently am able to work with students at the school, mentoring them on audio production, and I think the students right now are fantastic. They're phenomenal workers. They want to strive to do more than I wanted to, which is really impressive. And I like seeing that on a daily basis. I would describe the students as go-getters, and they're hungry for broadcasting. And that's the best way I can describe them. So I like seeing them every day. I like working with them every day. My name is Ben Anderson. I am promotions assistant for Cumulus Media out of Chicago, and I am production director for the Illinois Media School, and I am IMS.
So I originally got started out of the Illinois Media School, formerly the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, through a radio ad that I saw on the Score. At the time, I wanted to be on the radio because that sounded super cool. But while I was at school there, I got to learn lots of other skills, and that got me interested in directing, which is what I do now here at WIFR. I am in charge of the newscasts and prepare them and execute them during the live news shows. While I was at Illinois Media School, I was able to get the basis of skills that allowed me to get this job, and I learned how to operate cameras and work on the equipment, and that helped me greatly in getting this job. As far as school students, you know, you got a chance to meet with lots of different types of people and you know, collaborate with them and work on projects together. And I feel like that gives you a great chance to learn how to work in the industry, because you're always going to be working with people, and it just helps you get a feel for what it's actually like out there. My name is Ben Forrest. I am the Senior Director at WIFR in Rockford, Illinois, and I am IMS.
I first came across the Illinois Media School back in 2012 when I was producing the news, and what I found was that the Illinois Media School brought out the best people in this industry. The best young people learning how to do their jobs. They would come into our news program and understand more than anyone else anywhere that I've ever seen. Probably what I've enjoyed most about being here at Illinois Media School is watching the students come in filled with excitement and then watching them leave and become productive members in the entertainment industry. It's great to see them come in excited and learn so much and then go out and be productive members of our industry. What do I like most about the students who attend IMS is their passion and how excited they are to go out and do new things, and the willingness they have to push the boundaries of our industry and really test their own limits and do something that's greater than themselves. I'm Brian Gill and I'm a video producer. I'm an instructor here and I am IMS.
Hi everybody, I'm Candy Gomez here at the Illinois Media School in Lombard. I am one of the newest people to join the staff here. I am a student advisor, which is really cool because what I do here is I bring all my expertise, my years from B96 Radio, WGN, Chicago Sky, currently KISS FM. I bring all that here and I talk to the kids, students of all ages, of all backgrounds, and let them know what radio is like and just working in the media too. I got brought onto the team here as a student advisor, which is good because I like to talk. And you know, I went to college. I went to a 4-year college. It was great, but I really had a higher respect for people who were already in the industry teaching me because you could learn so much from them. That's how I feel it is. And these students here, they're just so passionate and everyone is so supportive of each other. And working in the media, it's not always like that. So here is just a great resource of staff, student, teachers, everything here that you need. So you may come in thinking you want to go into radio or you want to go into TV, and the next thing you know, you love editing, or you want to go into being a sportscaster. We've got so many different programs here, and I think it's very beneficial too because we don't just make you choose one. Maybe you want to do TV, maybe later on you learn, hey, radio's a better fit for you. And that's exactly how the real world is too. Sometimes you've got a plan and something takes you on a turn and you could end up somewhere completely different. So here you have tons of resources to find out exactly who you are. And I kind of help you develop your creative side, your content for your shows, so forth. And I'm always here just to talk as well. Currently, I'm at KISS FM weekends and fill-in shifts. Before this, I covered every shift possible at B96. I was there for over 12 years. I started at WGN Television. I was interning there for a while. I was there for over 2 years. I was at Chicago Sky. I was the announcer, the MC of all the games. Those girls are awesome. And who knows where I'll be next? You never know where this career can take you. I'm Candy Gomez from KISS FM, and I am IMS.
Hey guys, my name is Damian Perrone. I work for a small multimedia AV company called PMMG Incorporated here in the Chicagoland area, and I'm an instructor here at the Illinois Media School. I started as a student back in March of 2008. Can't believe it's been that long. Graduated and literally immediately was asked to actually stay here as a grad assistant. From there, kind of moved up to doing promotional work and stuff for the school. And then because of what I do and where I work, I was actually asked to become an instructor as well. So I am teaching the incredible students here at IMS now. Everybody here is extremely eager to learn. Everybody here, you know, whether you want to do radio and or TV, and I say and or because you're going to learn both while you're here. Everybody here is, you know, here with a purpose and really, really willing to learn and pretty much do what it takes to, you know, make it in the industry. This place is absolutely incredible, and that's why I've stayed here for so long. What I've learned, I want to give back, and everything that I've learned in the industry, I want to give back, and that's why I'm an instructor here. My name is Damian Perrone. I am a videographer and motion graphic designer for PMMG Incorporated, and I am IMS.
I got started here at IMS recently, moving back to the Chicago area where I had been living in Connecticut, working at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, had an opportunity to move home, and I wanted to continue being an instructor, and that's how I ended up at IMS. My time here, I love working with students. The key thing in this industry, whether it's radio or TV, is it's just in a constant state of change. And we always need to have fresh ideas, and fresh people bring fresh ideas. It's just a lot of different diverse thinking, and that's how you help build a show or a show unit or a segment. And I just enjoy being able to teach, maybe teach is a strong word, but instruct kids that really want to get into this business. And we need fresh ideas, and this is a great place to do that. The students here, you know what? There are students here who are fresh out of high school. There are students here who have maybe been out working in the real world, doing whatever, selling insurance, being a police officer, whatever it is, and decide that, hey, you know what? I want to give this a shot. And so they come here. So there is really no specific age range here, and I think it's great. The students are all eager to learn because they want to be here. They're not being forced to go to school here. That's a key thing. This is something you want to do, and you're putting everything you have into doing this, and that's just fantastic. My name is Dave Zaslowski. I am the executive producer for the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Bulls radio networks. I am at the Lombard campus, and I am IMS.
The reason I'm out here at the Illinois Media School is the radio business, while there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of stations, the people in the business is a small, tight-knit group. Everybody kind of knows everybody, and I love the opportunity of being able to connect with people who have a passion to get into this business. I had great instructors as I came up through the ranks, and I really enjoy the opportunity of being able to give back, connect, share the experience. Great that we're able to.
And welcome back to the Leafs Ice Center here in West Dundee, Illinois. This is Eric Willowite with you. Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. Well, after one period of play, the Chicago Cougars and Detroit Fighting Irish are scoreless. Good offensive opportunities for the Cougars in that first period. A lot of that due to the 3 power play attempts that the Cougars had in that period. The Detroit Fighting Irish had 2 of their own, both teams scoreless on the power play, and we're scoreless in the game as we are underway here in period number 2. Cougars going left to right in their white jerseys, and Detroit Fighting Irish in their green. It looks blackish tonight. Going right to left. At the point, Bishop fires it on net, deflected. Lindsay trying to punch it in, and they do. Looks like Lindsay got the goal on that flip attempt from the shot from Bishop. Lindsay was able to not get it through. Let's take a look at the replay here. Here it comes to the near point. Bishop flips it on net. Puck gets deflected and slowly rolls into the crease on the deflection by Lindsay. So Lindsay coming up with the early goal for the Cougars. And the Cougars go up 1-0. So that's how you start a period, folks. The Cougars coming out, even strength, cycling the puck around, getting it to the near point, throw it on net. When you have someone in the slot as open as Lindsay was, good things can happen, and they did. All right, face off, and the puck goes down inside the Cougar zone where Martinovich will hold on for the face off. And also the net knocked off its moorings. Now the net on this side of the ice in the center rink, let's just say it has some issues with coming off the moorings there. Face off will be to the right of Martinovich. Zeb Scheffler with the draw for the Cougars, and Anderson for Detroit Fighting Irish. And now we have a conference over by the Cougars bench as the referee and linesmen are talking things over. Might be with talking it over with Coach Stofers. Not exactly sure what the discussion was there. Now they are going over talking to Coach Dan Vasquez of Detroit. So we're really unsure what the situation is. Now the faceoff will be to the right of Martinovich, Anderson and Scheffler. Scheffler wins the draw for the Cougars. Beltrami rings it around to the far board, still inside the Cougar zone. Detroit keeps it in. Anderson flips it towards the far near corner. And now Detroit trying to generate an offensive cycle. Puck kept in. Nice reach by Detroit. Keeping that puck inside the zone for a moment was Brace. Now puck inside the Detroit zone. Anderson looking to flip it ahead. Kept in, however, along the near boards, or far boards. Trying to get it out to the point, and skating is Del Bracine. He'll leave it in the corner for Helf. Helf fires a shot from the far circle. Rebound attempt is loose, trying to get it around the other side. Peters looking to center to Del Bracine. He gets tied up. And the net off the moorings on the other side of the ice here. So, sometimes goaltender's best friend. Stoppage of play, face-off will be to the left of Dean Buchholz. 1-0 Cougars with 18:39 to play here in period number 2. Draw, Rifle wins the draw. Oh, and a glove save in the shot by Janjic. Puck comes out to the blue line. Skating inside the zone. Going into the near corners was Mays. Mays flips it behind the Cougars net along the far boards. Unable to keep it in, however, was Frank Barabish, and Mays will look to chip it back inside the Cougar zone, but he's unable to. Now Janjic along the near boards. Gets rubbed off the play. Madonia looks to keep the puck in, but when whistle sounds, I believe Janjic might still be down as he was hit hard along the near boards, and the trainer coming out to assist him. All right, so let's take a look at that play here along the boards. As now Janjic up on his own feet. Oh, checked heavy there by Jacob Smith. Hit the boards hard. So now going back to the bench and getting administered some assistance there by the trainer. Face-off outside the Detroit zone, just in front of the near boards. Barabish and Lenzi with the draw. Cougars take the draw. Norman flips it ahead to Van Dyke. Van Dyke flips it inside the Detroit zone. Skating after it, flipping it ahead, was Jacob Jennings. Jennings skating around inside his own zone, flips it along the far boards. Now the puck gets out to center ice. Barabish. And puck gets intercepted, thrown back inside the Detroit zone. Gestrich and Van Dyke chasing for the Cougars. Puck gets flipped up along the glass, and Jennings will take it for Detroit. Up to center ice, that's tipped by Lenzi all the way inside the Cougar zone, but Jacob Smith was in there early for an offsides call against the Fighting Irish. And the draw will come outside the Cougar zone. Along the near boards. No, center ice draw. Detroit won the draw. Puck's inside their own zone, looking to get it out as DeJong. Up to center ice now. Fernandez flips it on net, and Martinovich doesn't like what he sees with numbers coming for Detroit, so he'll hold on. And a face-off inside the Cougar zone with 17-17 remaining in the first period. 1-0 Chicago. Face-off will be to the right of Luke Martinovich. Anderson with the draw, and Scheffler for the Cougars. Cougars win the draw and they flip it out. Dombrowski over to his defense partner. Number 2, Stephen Moore. And now Dombrowski flipping it back inside the Cougar zone. And Henry Laukkanen will skate behind his own net. Change to, oh, nice spin move. Leaving a player behind in his wake. Good skating there by Henry Laukkanen to leave a player in his wake in some tight spaces there behind the Cougars net. All right, Norman flipping it up into the Detroit zone where Moore will take it, flip it along the near boards. Detroit looking to get it out, and they do. And Norman flips it back over to center ice. And Dombrowski will fire the shot, gets deflected up into the netting behind goaltender Luke Martinovich. And there'll be another face-off. Face-off will come outside the zone. Nope. Face-off inside the zone, deflected by the Cougars. It'll be to the left of Luke Martinovich. Cougars win the draw. Beltrame flips and clears out to center ice. Puck stolen away. Kowalczyk skating after it behind the Detroit Fighting Irish net. Trying to feed Peters, and that puck was intercepted at the last minute by the Fighting Irish's Jakreski. Now Peters in alone. Rifle there looking for the rebound. None forthcoming as Dean Buchholz hangs on that shot from Rifle. We'll have another draw. This one to the right of goaltender Dean Buchholz. Rifle will take the draw. Peters with the shot attempt. Rifle was waiting inside the slot for that rebound, and Buchholz did not cough it up. Jennings behind his own net. He'll skate it ahead. Flips it to center ice. Tipped into the zone by Duchesne. And that'll be an icing call, as the Irish were not clear of center ice on that tip attempt inside the zone. So the faceoff will come all the way back down inside the Detroit zone. 15:50 to play, 1-0 Cougars. This is Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. That time the Irish win the draw, and they'll move ahead. Head of steam, Mays along the far boards. Backhand attempt, he'll fall down. And now we have a mini pile-up, and the referee blows the play dead as the net, and that's on its moorings. So it looks like the referee just blew it dead based on the pile-up behind the net. Face off inside the Cougar zone, and Sewell was ejected from the circle, so Mays takes the draw. Cougars win the draw. They get it over along the near boards. Chipped in back by Smith. Oh, and a heavy hit there by number 24, Steven Sewell, on the Cougars. Now skating forward at center ice, Luke Borth. Bring it in over the blue line. Fires a flip shot on net. And Buchholz holds on for the save with a couple Cougars bearing in on him. Again with the rebound control, Buchholz has been solid. As you can see here, as you understand, rebound control very important, especially for the number of shots Detroit has been facing. Buchholz has been standing very strong tonight. All right, face off to the left of Buchholz inside the Detroit zone. Lenzy on the draw. And Steven Sewell for Detroit. Borth takes the possession for the Cougars. Gestrich tries to flip it over to Lenzy. And now the puck gets thrown into the near boards. Kept in. Nice pinch attempt by Madonia as he flips a shot over the head of goaltender Buchholz. But Detroit clears. Madonia at the red line. Fires it into the Detroit zone. Buchholz will leave it there for Jennings, his defenseman. He throws it to the near boards, kept in the slot, firing a shot. Picking up that loose puck was Bishop, but Buchholz absorbing that shot in the chest area and then gloving it, not allowing a rebound attempt again. 1-0, Chicago. This time the draw will be to the right of Buchholz. Scheffler on the draw and Anderson for Detroit. And Anderson is bounced from the circle. Barabish comes in to take his place for the Irish, and Barabish wins the draw. Dombrowski flips it up along the near boards, not out. Kept in by Bishop, throws it on net. And with Delbrosine coming in, looking for a rebound opportunity, Buchholz holds on. So this kind of might be the goaltender's version of the rope-a-dope, where you continue to freeze the puck and frustrate your opponent. And the Irish look to fight another day. But in order to make this a successful strategy, the Irish do need to get some offense generated, as they have not been able to get much generated here in the second period. Puck behind the Detroit net, kept in at the point. Bishop trying to throw it on net. Moore deflected that into the near corner. Now in the slot, firing a shot loose in the slot. And what do we have here? Faceoff's coming outside the zone. As they're saying, Detroit was able to cover it up. So let's take a look at the rebound now. The puck will lie loose in the slot. And there you see immediately the referee blowing the whistle dead. Oh, penalty shot. Okay, so what happened here, folks, is one of the Detroit players gloved that puck inside the crease area, which is a penalty shot for the Cougars. So this is an exciting play here. And taking the penalty shot, looks like Zeb Scheffler for the Cougars. So Scheffler, and on the other end there, goaltender Dean Buchholz. Scheffler skating into the slot area. Couple stick moves, backhander, and unable to come up with the puck. As he tried to stick handle probably one too many times, he got in too close, and the puck rolled off his stick. So no shot attempt ever generated by Scheffler there on the penalty shot attempt. But the draw will come inside the Detroit zone. So that's a victory of sorts for Detroit. Not only were the Cougars denied on the penalty shot, but they weren't able to get a shot off it nonetheless. Let's see if that gives any momentum to Detroit here, as they need something positive. Even though they're only down one, and one's all it takes to tie it up, they need to get some offense generated to stem the tide of the momentum that the Cougars have had inside the Detroit zone. Puck still inside the Detroit zone, now finally comes out. Jaszewski has it along the near boards, flips it into the slot area, and that gets sticked back into the near corner by Delbrosine. Puck along the near boards, knocked out. Skating with a head of steam now is Brendan Bayers. Bayers throws it on net, rebound loose. Oh, that was kind of a shot pass attempt. Throw it off the pads and hope for a rebound, but it was off the stick side of the approaching Cougars player. He was unable to corral it. Now Kowalczyk, he drops the puck. Back to Peters, puck, and unfortunately the net is slightly off its moorings there. That's a tough angle for Brendan Peters with the net turned the other way. If he would have been able to bang that one in, I think they should have allowed it. Nonetheless, stoppage of play, and we'll have a face-off to the right of goaltender Dean Buchholz, 1-0 Cougars. On the draw for Chicago will be Rifle. And that is Steven Sewell, who gets bounced from the circle. And Barabish comes in to take the draw. I know that was brace for Detroit. Now there's a 5-man pileup in the far corner. Puck finally comes loose. Throwing it around to the near boards, Christopher Hayes. Detroit gets it out center ice. Might be an icing call. No. Waved off. Now Detroit has the puck inside the Cougar zone. Behind his own net. Looking to flip it off the glass, but he caught the netting. Was Kowalczyk. And so the faceoff will go inside the Detroit zone to the right of Luke Martinovich. Sewell tries to throw the shot on net after the faceoff win by Brace. His shot attempt was deflected up into the netting behind goaltender Martinovich, so we'll redo the faceoff. But now before that happens, the Cougars want to make a line change, so wholesale player changes. And coming into the faceoff dot will be Lindsay. Lindsay on the draw for the Cougars. And the Irish win the draw. Jennings shot from the point, blocked nicely by Gestrich. Another shot attempt, that time was blocked by Bishop. Came up hobbling a little bit, but now he's okay. Skating in, Van Dyke centering it over to Gestrich, and he fanned on this shot attempt, didn't get enough on it. Now kept in at the point by Norman, Eric Norman. Flipping it towards the net, goes into the far corner. Lindsay will throw it behind the net. Back to the slot. Bishop, near circle, coming in from the point. Shot attempt blocked by Jennings. Kicked into the near corner. Van Dyke throws it to Lindsay behind the net. Trying to feed Gestrich, and it went underneath his stick all the way down inside the Cougar zone. Oh, and coming out of the net to play it was Martinovich, and he's lucky because Sewell intercepted it off the glass. Martinovich had to scramble to get back inside his net. So a little wild action there from goaltender Martinovich, trying to flag down that loose puck. Didn't have as much time as he initially thought. Now the puck comes out. Gestrich chips it inside the Detroit zone. He'll skate after it. Coming inside, firing a shot off. Oh, nice save there by Buckholtz, as laboring behind the net is Gestrich of the Cougars after that shot attempt, as he's in some distress. And now the trainer will come on the ice. And what usually happens as soon as the trainer shows up, the skater gets right on his feet, but let's see if that happens. Might have had the wind knocked out of him. There, he's back on his feet. So that's the power of a trainer, folks. As soon as they reach the player on the ice, the said player pops up right away. No worse for wear. All right, faceoff will be outside the Detroit zone along the near boards. Zeb Scheffler will take the draw. Barabish for Detroit. Scheffler wins the draw to Madonia. Oh, almost had that puck intercepted. Now he does. Borth is going to have to chase after it. Mays looks to get it to the far point. Oh! Delbrasine looked like he tripped over his own blue line. But he's back on his feet. Puck in the near corner now behind the Cougars net. Detroit flips it into the far corner. Dombrowski coming in from the point to keep it in. Barabish takes his spot at the point. Now over to the near far point. Moore pinches in to keep that puck in play as Detroit looks to get something generated here. They have a man open in the slot. That was Barabish, but Mays unable to see him. Detroit keeps it in. Barabish behind the net, trying to feed Smith, and the puck came loose. Cougars look to clear. Not out yet. Now they finally do. Madonia. And he gets muscled off the puck, and his head knocked into the boards there in a dangerous play. He's just in a vulnerable possession. I don't believe the player intended to hit his head into the board. It's just the way he fell. And he absorbed that blow by the head there. He was falling down when the check was happening, and his head absorbed the blow against the boards. So the Cougars getting banged up here in the second period. That's the third time the trainer's been on the ice. This time Nate Madonia is going to take a seat and he'll get inspected by the training staff. What day is it? What's your birthday? What team do you play for? And how many fingers am I holding up? All right, Scheffler now will take the draw for the Cougars. Detroit takes possession. They try and flip it inside the zone, and they do. Cruz getting it over to Jaseski. Jaseski throws it over to the near corner, and the Cougars look to clear. Not out. Puck line in the slot. Now Henry Laukkonen will take possession at his own circle. He loses possession. Detroit looks to keep it in, and they do. Cruz putting on good pressure on Laukkonen. Now the puck comes loose to the center ice area. Del Brasino will skate in. Bayer's able to stay onside. Now Scheffler. Scheffler throws it to Del Brasino behind the net. Looking to center to Bayers. Now Norman, and the whistle had sounded. Norman had flipped a wrister from the near point, rang off the post and in, but the whistle had already sounded as the net had come off its moorings once again. So no goal there, and the faceoff will be to the left of Dean Buchholz, with the Cougars up 1-0 here in period number 2. Thanks for joining us for Cougars Hockey, Chicago Cougars Hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. The Rifle will take the draw. Janzik on the wing. And I believe that's Peters. Peters and Janzik will trade places. Rifle will take the draw. Puck is dropped. Detroit looking to take possession. Rifle has it, centers it into the slot area. Detroit looking to clear, they do. Fernandez looked to break out, but Cougars were able to jam that play up. Now Detroit over the blue, in their own blue line. Jennings carries it forward. Arnold fires a shot on net, but able to see that puck all the way was Luke Martinovich, and he holds on. No rebound given. Face off now inside the Cougar zone with 8:49 to play. And wholesale player changes again for the Cougar, as Lenzi will come in to take the draw. So anytime there's a draw inside the Cougar zone, Coach Stofers likes to get Michael Lenzi out there to take the draws. He's good on the faceoff. He wins the draw there. And he clears. Skating with a head of steam now. Gestrich, backhander, and a stick save made by Buchholz. Puck into the far corner with a nice head of steam by Gestrich. Well, able to throw that backhander on net. Now Van Dyke, far boards. Keeping a couple players at bay and firing a shot. Coming in from the point was Beltrami. Came in along the near circle, fired a shot, and that got sticked into the far corner netting. And will hold for a faceoff to the right of Dean Buchholz. So you can see the importance of winning a draw. Lenzi wins the draw in his own zone, and immediately the Cougars were able to generate an offensive opportunity on that, with Gestrich streaking down the far board side, throwing a backhander on Buchholz, and Buchholz able to come up with a nice save. All right, Lenzi is win the draw that time. Detroit looks to enter the zone, and they do. Thrown into the far corner. Now Lenzi skating with a head of steam. He's at his own blue line. Now at center ice, gets behind over Sewell. Goes into the far near boards. He'll throw it to the far boards. That puck is taken away by Dombrowski, and then Lenzi threw a little stick work into Dombrowski's check there, was to say hello. Puck goes into the corner. Beltrami will chase after it, looking to center, gets knocked behind the Detroit net. Now puck in the near corner. Van Dyke. Stick handling. Tries to get around a defender. Still has the puck. He'll throw it down low. Into the circle, near far circle. Van Dyke has it. Centering attempt, trying to feed Health. And that jumped over his stick. Beltrami's going to have to skate hard to get to this puck as a streaking Anderson coming in for Detroit. And the Cougars were able to get there on time. Tipped into the zone by the Cougars. Van Dyke will chase. Into the slot. Lindsay fires and he misses on the stick side of the post, and the net gets knocked off its moorings again. Boy, what a rush there by the Cougars, and a golden opportunity for a scoring attempt there. But just unable to throw it on net was Lindsay's shot, and it went wide of goaltender Buchholz to his stick side. So now the faceoff will come to the right of Dean Buchholz with 7:08 to play here in period number 2. No scoring in the second period. Well, no, take that back. The Cougars scored in the first minute of the second period. And then that's been it. That's the only goal of the period. Now the ref throwing some water on the net itself to kind of seal the net up. You know, water works like crazy glue, but on ice, yes. All right, Scheffler with the draw for the Cougars. And Detroit looking to win the draw, and they do. Trying to get the puck up to Cruz. Puck gets flipped up to Martinovich. He'll throw it out to center ice. Chipped ahead to Peters. Peters and Scheffler. Jennings takes it down for Detroit, however, and flips it out to center ice. Laukkanen will throw it back inside the Detroit zone. And losing the puck, and now Delbrasine battling behind the goal line. Detroit comes out with it. Kept in, however, near point. Beltrami throws it to the far circle. Centering attempt. Oh, trying to reach Delbrasine. And a spin move in the far corner by Scheffler as he's trying to get that puck free to Delbrasine. Delbrasine now has Peters in the slot temporarily. Peters chases it into the near corner. Brings it around to the far corner. Delbrasine, no one in the slot at the moment. He's going to have to buy some time as Laukkanen tried to flip it, and it got deflected up into the Cougars bench. And we'll have a face-off now with 6:07 to play, 1-0 in favor of Chicago. Chicago Cougars hockey coming to you on Fast Hockey, powered by the Illinois Media School. This is Eric Willowhite with you here at the Leafs Ice Center in West Dundee, Illinois, home of the Chicago Cougars junior hockey team. Now Adam Rifle on the draw for the Cougars. Detroit wins the draw. Mays clears it to center ice. Jacob Smith, he'll leave it there. And now gets into the zone. Oh, puck loose. As Zashevsky flipped it on net. And that time Martinovich didn't come up with a clean save. Left a temporary rebound there, but then finally able to cover it up. And the net got dislodged from its moorings on the other side of the rink now. All right, face off to the right of Luke Martinovich. In the draw. Cougars win the draw. Look to get it over into the far corner. Janjic trying to punch it forward. Kept in, however, at the far point into the slot. Puck is loose. And then Borth will flip it down. This time it'll go for an icing call, and it will. Dombrowski will leave the puck there for the linesman. And the draw will come inside the Cougar zone. Face off to the left of Luke Martinovich with 5:37 to play. This is a big draw for Detroit. They can win the draw cleanly, and they do. See if they can generate a shot attempt. They do. Hayes from the far point. However, the shot was more like a flip attempt, and Luke Martinovich was able to easily glove that and hold on for a face-off. as some players are arguing about the value of baseball cards there in the corner. And now that discussion has ended. Draw to the left of Martinovich. 2 players scramble between the centerman Rifle. And now we have a 4-player scrum as Rifle gets his head knocked into the ice by number 11 of Detroit, Tristan Cruz. All right, Cougars will put on a fresh set of forwards. Van Dyke, Gestrich, and Lindsay will take center. Mike Lindsay at center. He wins the draw. Puck forwarded up the ice along the far boards. Kept in, however, in the slot. Cruz. His shot attempt was blocked, goes along the near boards. Now skating out with it is Lindsay. Flips it along the far boards to Van Dyke. Van Dyke far circle, leaving it in the slot for Gestrich. Fires a shot, and Buchholz kicks that into the far corner. Good save by Buchholz again. Rebound control and shooting the puck, saving it away from harm's way. He's been strong on that all night so far for the Irish. Now Detroit inside the Cougar zone. Puck goes behind the goal line. Borth and Lindsay collide. Puck is loose in the slot. A little sloppy play so far, or at this moment, for the Cougars as they look to clear, and they do. No icing. Skating after it is Gestrich, and he'll get there, but Dombrowski will take the puck for Detroit. Flips it to center ice, streaking Jaszewski. Misconnection. That's going to be icing against the Irish. Faceoff will come down inside the Detroit zone. Now, wait a minute. You have a delayed penalty here? We do. So the goaltender was skating off the ice. Luke Borth is going to the box. Power play for Detroit. Slashing penalty on Luke Borth, so this will give the Irish their 3rd power play. 0 for 2 on the night so far. I believe this is the first penalty of the entire second period. We had 5 penalties in total in the first. 3 power plays for the Cougars, 2 for Detroit. And now Detroit will get their 3rd power play attempt of the game. First of the period. Oh, 2 players now shaken up. Rifle in some distress at center ice. He's clutching his hand. He's unable to get off the ice. He is in some terrible shape there as there was a collision at center ice. He is in some bad straits right now as they try and get Adam Rifle to the Cougars bench. He's kind of sprawled out, trying to get into the bench. He's having trouble putting any pressure on that left leg. Well, the trainer, I think by the end of the night, he's going to have a report card on every player because Rifle's second time getting some assistance there. That time, he's in a lot more distress than the first. All right, face-off now inside the Cougar zone. Power play for Detroit. They win the draw. Sewell at the near point. Flips it on net, sticked into the near corner by Martinovich, and the puck gets knocked down inside the Detroit zone. Buchholz is going to leave it there for Dombrowski, skating behind his own net. He'll circle back, eludes a defender and gets it along the near boards. Out to center ice. Skating in with it is Mays along the near boards. He's got Jacob Smith going into the corner slot. And also Tyler Blackburn streaking ahead. Kept in at the near point. Sewell dumps it down low. Jacob Smith. Cougars look to clear off the glass, and they do. And Buchholz will shovel it up to Dombrowski inside his own zone at his own blue line. Eludes one defender and gets it over to Sewell along the near boards inside the Cougar zone. Sewell battling. Throws it behind the goal line. Oh! And knocking down was Jacob Smith. Knocked down one of the Cougar defenders. I believe that was Bishop. Now Smith getting rubbed off on the play by Bishop. Watch those two now. Puck is loose in the slot. Bishop and Sewell. Bishop and Smith going after it. And now we got a couple scrums going on. So coming in there at the end there was Tyler Blackburn and Bishop. All sorts of unpleasantries happening down inside the Cougar zone. And the referee has called a penalty. One penalty so far. Looks like Luke Borth in the box for, oh no, that's the original penalty. But now Bishop will take a seat for the Cougars. The door is open on the Fighting Irish side. Let's see if we have a corresponding player going to the box there, and we do. Looks like it's going to be Sergey Arnold going into the box. So that must have been that secondary scrum after Bishop and Jacob Smith were going at it. Then Bishop and Arnold. No, check that. That's Blackburn. Referee's talking it over with the captains, or alternate captains. Waiting for the call. There's still 32 seconds remaining on the power play for Detroit. And we are going to have coincidental penalties, I believe, against the Cougars and the Irish for Bishop and Blackburn. Bishop for the Cougars and Blackburn for Detroit. Faceoff will come inside the Cougar zone to the left of goaltender Martinovich. This will be a still a 5-on-4 for Detroit. And Delbrosino will throw it on net in the slot area. And Buchholz two-minute roughing penalties each for Blackburn and Bishop. Now Jennings has the puck for the Irish. Chips it inside the Cougar zone. Skating with it is Jaseski along the far boards. Flips it down low. Cruz. Back to Jaseski along the far boards. Far point. Getting over to the near point. Dombrowski. Near circle. Centering attempt. And unable to corral the puck cleanly, so he had to go into the corner. Otherwise, he would have had a shot attempt off. Cougars looking to clear. Chipping it out at the zone, and they do. Here's Michael Helf. He's got Delbrosine with him. Oh, and he fires a shot. Glove saved there by Buchholz. He'll hold on as the power play now over for Detroit. Both teams back at full strength. 5-on-5 hockey. Face off inside the Detroit zone. Be to the left of goaltender Buchholz. Lindsay will take the draw for the Cougars. And that's Anderson for the Fighting Irish. As Hayes will have to go back to his bench for Detroit, as he was waved off by the referee. Lindsay and Anderson. And Lindsay looked to win the draw, but coming out is DeJong for Detroit. Far boards, flips it into the far corner behind the net. Micah Hawk will throw it back along the far boards. Van Dyke will chip it out to center. Lindsay, he's got Gestrich with him. Lindsay, centering attempt, and a nice stick there by number 12. Joseph Hayes not allowing that pass attempt to get through to Gestrich on the centering attempt from Lindsay on that 2-on-1 opportunity. So good play there by the defenseman for the Irish. 1:37 to play here in period number 2. 1-0 Chicago. As Detroit now starting to get some even strength opportunities going their way. So that power play, even though they didn't score, might benefit them. Now backhand attempt by Janzik, and that sticked into the near corner. Health, far boards, has the puck, fans on it, and then he gets bumped off the play by Detroit. As Anderson and Health, and Scheffler, I should say, Scheffler battling. Now Beltrami, far point, flips it on net, deflected into the near corner. Detroit will take possession. Flipped it up to center ice. Barabish skating in the zone. However, puck was knocked down with a high stick. And so the draw will come back down inside the Detroit zone with 1 minute exactly to play here in period number 2. Face off to the right of Dean Buchholz. Michael Health will take the draw for the Cougars. And Kyle Mays for Detroit. Cougars win the draw. Van Dyke throws it behind the goal line. Health, centering attempt. Puck is loose, goes knocked inside the near corner. Detroit looking to clear. Puck loose in the slot, goes back to the near boards. Norman dumps it into the near corner. Back to Norman at the point along the near boards. Keeping it in. Fans on the shot attempt. Puck comes outside the zone. Detroit could have a break here. They do. Here comes Mays. Backhander and a pad save by Martinovich, knocking it along to the far boards. Puck into the near corner now. 20 seconds remaining in the second period. Trying to get the puck to the slot to Dabrowski to the near point. He keeps it in. Brings it behind the net. Jacob Smith, centering attempt. And it gets knocked to the far boards. 9 seconds remaining. Pass attempt for the Cougars goes awry. But skating in is Van Dyke, and he'll get there. Kill off some time, and the buzzer will sound, ending the second period of play. Nice excitement there towards the end. Detroit seemed to pick up some momentum from that power play. Was able to generate some even strength offense. Cougars were able to get a couple responses as well. But at the end of 2 periods of play, it's Chicago 1, Detroit 0. The lone goal coming from Mike Lenzi in the first minute of period number 2. And that is your scoring so far. At the end of 2 periods of play, Chicago 1, Detroit 0. You're watching Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. And we'll be back for third period action after the break.
The radio and broadcasting business is a long time, more than 3 decades, and I really noticed kind of a downtick in young people being interested in entering the business, and there weren't a lot of opportunities. So I thought, if I spread my knowledge and shared what I know about the business with a lot of young minds, maybe I could get some of those people involved. And my dad talked to schools. My dad, Harry Volkman, Chicago weatherman for years, always went and talked to schools trying to inspire them to A, follow their dreams, but B, be in broadcasting, whether it was meteorology, sports, weather, DJs, whatever. And I thought I could do that too, and I could do it all in one place at Illinois Media School. I had friends here. They urged me to come out, and I took the job. I've been having a great time. I tell everybody I'm learning as much from the students as they learn from me, because media, broadcasting is ever changing. Things are streaming now. There's social media, everything's integrated. And the young minds know the new end of that, the new technology, the new apps, the way everything works together, computers. And so I watch how they put together their presentation. It's audio and video and internet all at the same time. And so I've learned as much about doing my current show as they've probably learned from me teaching them how to put their thoughts together to create a show. The students here are all enthusiastic. They know what they want to do, or when they come here, they might have an idea that they just love the idea of broadcasting. They come in wanting to be a sportscaster, but they decide all of a sudden they fall in love with video editing. And it's great that everything is offered here because it gives you a wide variety of choices. When I was in college, I had to take some courses I wasn't interested in. I fell asleep. I was bored. Here, everybody's anxious to get on to the next pod of activity, whether it's video, audio, website design. It's all put together. I'm enjoying my time here. I hope I can do it for a long time, and I'm at a radio station now where I got a great pipeline of interns coming from this place. I'm Eddie Volkman. For years I was on B96, part of the Eddie and Jobo Morning Show. I've been on WLS. I was on 104.3 K-Hits. And I'm currently the new afternoon guy on WCKG AM. It's 1530. I am Eddie Volkman, and I am IMS.
I heard about IMS actually through an ad on my Facebook page during the time I had a picture of myself with headphones and a mic on because I did college radio. And usually I don't fall for the spam tricks, but that day I felt like being gullible. And so I clicked on it, and there it was, the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, which was what it was at the time. I saw a video featuring T-Lo giving a tour of the school, and I was hooked right then and there. Called them, did a tour the following week. And then it was history there. I was a productive student, knew exactly what I wanted to do, did multiple internships, and after I graduated, I experienced the hardships that most students will probably feel, but I didn't give up. And I looked up into a freelance gig with High School Cube, which transitioned over to working for Radio Disney, and several other jobs after that, which leads me now to Alpha Media, where I am a top utility player for WXLC. I would describe the students as hungry and ambitious. My class in particular, all of us placed after graduating, or at least a good 85% of us. And I can say that about 4 of them were co-workers with me back in my time during Rockford. So, the program is effective. You just got to know what it is that you want to do and give 100% towards it. And also be open to other things, because, that dream job you may want is not going to come as fast as you think. My name is Everett O'Neill. I am an on-air personality and assistant production director for WXLC. I am a Lombard graduate, and I am IMS.
I got started at IMS here as an instructor a couple years back after I'd heard a couple of people I worked with were also instructors here. And after being in the industry of radio and sports phone and TV and play-by-play for as long as I have been, I figured that it would be a good thing to come on out. I had some free time. Come on out and help out some of the people that want to be the next people involved in these kind of things, next people that hit the radio airwaves and also do play-by-play. So I thought it was a great idea and a great place to do it at. When I'm here, it's great because there's always somebody that has either heard me, has wanted to meet me, and once they meet me, I explain to them, okay, it wasn't that big a deal. But if I'm always here if you need help with developing what you're passionate about. And that's what most people come here for. They have a passion. They want to do something. They want to do radio play-by-play. They want to do sports talk. They want to do updates, whatever it may be. I love being here and helping them become better at what they're trying to work at. And it's great because the one thing about the students is they're really good at listening to criticisms. Once you get into the business, it's difficult because people all think that, okay, I've made it. But here at the school, everybody wants to get better. And that's one of the better things, and one of the things I really enjoy about it is they'll come and they'll say, how can I make this better? And I always tell them I'm going to be super critical of everything I tell them because that's the only way they're going to get better. And it's great because every student I've talked to enjoys that because they all want to get better. And that's one of the things I love about it. My name is Fred Hubner. I work at ESPN 1000 as a host and sports anchor. I am an instructor here at the Lombard campus of the Illinois Media School, and I am IMS.
Well, I got started at IMS because I really had nothing going on for me. I didn't have a job. I wasn't in school, and I was just getting out of my other school. I knew I wanted to go into broadcasting, but I didn't want to spend too much time in college. I'd already spent about 4 years, and I was like, I really don't have that much time to just play around anymore. So I really wanted to get into the business, and I had a friend, and he went to the school, graduated, and I saw he was already in the business, and everything was happening so quickly, and I went to him, I was like, hey, how did you get started? And he said, at the time, Illinois Center for Broadcasting, and I was like, all right. So I looked into it, went on a tour, and it changed my life. It really did. From the first step I took into the place, you felt the energy in there, and so many positive vibes coming from everywhere, and that's just the first time you step into it. And then you get started into it, and you're learning from industry professionals, you're learning from some of the best to ever do it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here in front of people that I grew up watching, and just going through that process, man, that whole year was the time of my life. I was super duper busy, but it was so much fun. Got an internship right away, was actually in a real radio station, and I saw my dreams coming true right before my eyes. And what's awesome is that I love the school so much, I couldn't leave. Graduated, and I'm still there now. I'm working with The Edge, theedgeonair.com at the Lombard campus. I am the assistant program assistant there, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun watching these new students come in, watching the students learn, and then they're looking up to me because I'm here working at a real radio station, knowing what goes into a radio show, and their eyes and their passion, it reminds me a lot of when I was at the school and the passion that I had, and they're working hard every single day, and it just drives me, and I love seeing that, and I love giving back, and if I'm just able to be that person for them to go to just for advice or whatever they need, I'd love to be that person, and it's an absolute honor that I'm able to hold that position for them to give them somebody to go to. I am George Norwood. I am the promotions assistant for 103.9 The Fox. I am the overnight host for Star 105.5, and I am also the assistant program director for theedgeonair.com at the Lombard campus, and I am IMS.
I came to Illinois Media School because I want to give back to the current students. It's something that really means a lot to me as an instructor, as a mentor, because I've been in this business for over 20 years, so it meant a lot to me to be able to come back and just teach some of the tricks of the trade to the students here at Illinois Media School. I've enjoyed my time tremendously here because I'm able to speak one-on-one with the students, having that personal touch, telling them about some of the pitfalls of the business, some of the positives of the business as well. I think that after 20 years of doing this, it means a lot that I can be able to lend my expertise and talk about some of the things I had to go through, so that way they're not frustrated, so they feel like, hey, you know what, someone's listening to my problems. So I definitely want to do that. I love the students here at Illinois Media School, and the reason why is because you can see the desire in their eyes. You can tell that they really want to take it to the next level. I admire what they're doing because in this particular era of broadcasting, they have so many things they could do. It could be radio, it could be television, it could be web design, they could do so many different things. So I'm so happy that they had the opportunity to do it, because I didn't have an Illinois Media School when I was coming up. I had to go to a 2 or 4 year college to try to get a career started in the business. But Illinois Media School is so terrific that students can be able to get it done in 1 year. Job placement assistance, the financial aid for those who qualify is just terrific. I'm Jonathan Hood from SiriusXM NBA Radio and ESPN Radio from the Illinois Media School campus in Lombard, and I am IMS.
I got started at IMS through a good friend of mine and a colleague at 670 The Score, Rick Camp, who knew I was an instructor at other universities and knew I was looking to get into a place with passionate students who know what they want to do. They know this is what they want to do for a living, and I have absolutely found that in my time here at IMS. The students are driven, they're passionate about broadcasting, radio, TV, internet, every asset of broadcasting they are completely passionate about, and it's very refreshing for me, having come from a university where students are obsessed with their general eds and other things that distract them from their major. These students here are here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to break into the broadcasting business, and it's some of the best and brightest young talent I've seen in my 16 years in the industry. My name is Jay Zawaski. I'm an executive producer for 670 The Score. I'm an instructor here at IMS, and I am IMS.
How did I get started at IMS? Well, I was driving through the Chicagoland area and I heard a commercial from Matt Abaticola on The Score, and I said, hey, I could probably do this sports thing. Signed up, got into the school, found out really quickly that no, I can't do the sports thing. But luckily, I found out I'm really into music and I know how to talk on the air about it. So I switched my focus over to music, and lo and behold, I graduated a little bit later after that. I got a job at Star 105.5 in the McHenry County area. Shortly after there, I got a job up here in Appleton, Oshkosh, Green Bay, Wisconsin, where I'm currently the afternoon host and the assistant program director for 2 country radio stations. What do I think about my time at IMS? I learned so much, and here's what I learned, is that it's not just what you can do on the air, it's about working with other people. I had a great class of fellow broadcasters that I learned a lot from, who we shared with one another, bounced ideas off of one another. We collaborated really well. And some of them went on to do weather in Colorado, then a few of them work in Rockford, some work in sports full-time. It's been an amazing experience going to IMS. My name is Joseph Pitt. I'm the assistant program director for Nash FM 99.5 and Nash FM 104.9. I am a graduate of the Lombard campus, and I am IMS.
I went to the Illinois Media School because I wanted a job in broadcasting. It was always my dream. I would see, radio stations out at different events or different concerts, and I'd say, man, how do you get that job? And the Illinois Media School made that possible. What I enjoyed most about my time at IMS was the fact that I was taught by industry professionals. I knew if I had any question, those pros would know exactly how to answer it. I would describe the students at IMS as people who are dedicated, people who want the same things that I want, whether it be television, broadcasting, on the web, and
And welcome back to the Leafs Ice Center in West Dundee, Illinois. Eric Willowhite with you here. This is Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. As we get set for third period action between the Cougars and the Fighting Irish, and right off the draw, Lindsay and Blake Anderson have a little disagreement. Sticks get raised. Now the referee comes in to calm things down. One to nothing Chicago Cougars at the end of 2 periods of play. Mike Lindsay, the lone goal scorer, he comes in, fires a shot on net, gets sticked into the near corner, and the Irish clear. Bishop throws it back inside the Irish zone. Dombrowski will ring it back along the far boards. Lindsay will chase after it, gets it over to the far point. Bishop fires it on net, sticked out into the slot area, and the Irish will come away with it. Martin Fernandez trying to get around a check by Laukkonen. Laukkonen did a good job to knock him off the puck. Here comes Van Dyke skating inside, moving the puck into the near corner. He gets rubbed off the play there by Dombrowski. Now Van Dyke staying with it. Dombrowski throws it to the far boards all the way out, ringing all the way down to the Cougar zone. This will be an icing call against Detroit. Face off inside the Fighting Irish zone with 19:09 to play in period number 3. So the face-off will be to the left of goaltender Dean Buchholz. He's had a really strong game here through 2 periods of play. Just not allowing many rebound opportunities, puck control, on shot attempts, steering them into the corners, or freezing the puck when necessary when there are players coming into the zone. All right, puck loose in the slot, and we have a stoppage of play here. Interference call. Looks like this will be an interference call against Zeb Scheffler of the Cougars. So Scheffler will take a seat, and this will be a power play for Detroit. This will be their 4th power play, 0 for 3 on the evening. As Scheffler goes off for interference with 18:55 to play here in period number 3. Dombrowski keeps the puck in the zone, rings it along to the far face-off circle. That shot attempt is blocked by Martinovich behind the goal line. And now Rifle able to come up with the loose puck, 2-on-2. Got Delbersine with him. And Rifle will flip it inside the Detroit zone where the Irish will have to regroup. Blackburn flips it up to center ice to Sewell. Now Madonia steals it, throws it out to center ice. Sewell will have to regroup. Sewell over to the far boards, puck chipped inside the zone, and clearing number 23, Luke Borth, all the way down inside the Irish zone, and going behind his own net, take that puck, will be Steven Sewell. Sewell, a head man to Dombrowski. Dombrowski over the blue line, tries to drop a quick drop pass to Blackburn, and Blackburn carries it back inside the zone. And now a broken stick. No, not a broken stick, just a stick scrum knocked out of the hands of Blackburn by Lindsay. Now skating in the zone, Dombrowski, far circle. Now in the far corner, rings it around. Back to Dombrowski, far boards at the point. Far point, tries a flip shot. Lindsay gets in front of that. And a shot block attempt there. And now Health comes back and picks up the stick of number 21, Jacob Smith. So good defensive plays. And now here come the Cougars. In alone, Health fires a shorthanded shot. Stick save made by Buchholz with 12 seconds remaining on the power play for Detroit. Detroit unable to get any quality shot attempts on the power play at this point, and that power play will expire here in a couple ticks. Now going into the zone, Jennings centering it, keeping it at the point by Hayes along the near boards. That's knocked out of play. This will be an icing call against the Cougars. Should be an icing call. And it is. 16:42 to play here in period 3. Chicago up 1-0 on the strength of an early goal by Mike Lindsay in the first minute of period number 2. Face off inside the Cougar zone to the right of goaltender Martinovich. Mike Health on the draw. No, that's Scheffler. Zeb Scheffler on the draw. Puck gets knocked out into the Detroit zone. Oh, we have a player knocking down with a high stick. And it looks like that was called on number 21, Jacob Smith. He's going to go to, no, not Jennings. That's Jennings. All right, let's take a look here. Behind the play, stick gets up in the air. That appeared to be Jennings, and it is. Jennings will go to the box. And Peters will come back to the bench. Getting his chicklets looked at there by the trainer of the Cougars staff. So this will be a 4th power play for the Cougars. They're 0 for 3 on the evening. Detroit just finished their 4th power play without scoring, so the penalty killing units for both teams have been successful. All right, puck kept in at the near point by Bishop. Van Dyke tries to get it to the near point, intercepted, however, by DeJong for Detroit. He throws it inside the Cougar zone. Cougars will look to regroup. Centering pass to Van Dyke. Van Dyke into the slot area. Stick handling knocked down at the last minute by Dombrowski after some great work by the Cougars. Stick handling of Van Dyke. Now the puck knocked in the corner. On the near boards. Van Dyke has it. Puck is fed. Delbrasine feeds it in the slot, and that's knocked away by Detroit. Martinovich will stop it with 1 minute remaining on the power play for the Cougars. Now Bishop has it. Puck along the line to Beltrame. All right. Now Van Dyke has to take it outside of his zone. Delbrasine gets knocked down by a check by Mays. And Detroit clears. Martinovich will leave it behind the net. And Van Dyke will take control. He'll shoot it on over. Skating with it now. With a head of steam, Bishop. Bishop along the far boards, cutting in. Centering shot to Van Dyke. On a big save and rebound, they score! Let's get a look here, see who gets the rebound opportunity. Here you're going to see Van Dyke coming on your side here. Misses the shot. Rebound is loose. And I believe that might have been either Bishop or Health with the goal. Power play goal for the Cougars with 5 seconds remaining. So Bishop centering attempt to Van Dyke. Van Dyke was stoned by Buchholz. Rebound attempt came loose, and it might have been Bishop following up, punching in the rebound for the goal. We'll wait for the announcement. All right, 2-0 Cougars with 14:30 to play here in period number 3. Scheffler coming in now, 2-on-1, fires a shot, stick save. That was on the handle of the stick, I believe, by Buchholz. Now Detroit inside the Cougar zone. Smith hacking away, trying to get at that loose puck. Puck is loose, picked up by Henry Laukkanen. Laukkanen, spin move, goes behind his own net. Shovels it out over to the near boards. Cougars look to exit their zone, they do. Puck at center ice. And Detroit looking to fire it back inside the Cougar zone. Hauk will get it over, trying to feed Brendan Bayer's misconnection. Puck goes inside the Detroit zone. They'll flip it out to center ice inside the Cougar zone. Luke Borth will chase after it along the near boards. Leaves it for Micah Hauk. Up to center ice. Rifle chasing after it. Adam Rifle. Now Borth. Far board. Pass attempt. Looks like we got a penalty call here against the Cougars as puck stop is play stop. Referee blown the whistle. Let's see what the call is here. So I believe Scheffler gets credit for the goal with an assist by Bishop. So Lindsay and Scheffler are your goal scorers here. Rifle will take the draw for the Cougars just outside the Cougars bench on the far boards. Now we have a broken stick for one of the Detroit players. And Fernandez carries it back in for Detroit, but Jasewski was just off sides. So the faceoff will come back outside the Cougar zone. Face-off again in front of the Cougars bench. 13-13 remaining in period 3. Chicago 2, Detroit nothing. Carrying the puck in offsides was Fernandez of Detroit. And guess what? We're going to have another face-off in front of the Cougars bench. Third time's the charm, or we'll see. If anything, it's good face-off practice. Cougars take possession of the draw. Madoni along the far boards, flips it out to center ice. It hits off the linesman and goes to Dombrowski for the Irish. He flips it back inside the Cougar zone, and chasing after it is Anderson for the Irish. Along the near boards, gets it over to Hayward, and he loses the puck, and Janczyk takes it over to Gestrich. Gestrich fires a shot that goes along the near boards outside the zone. Here come the Irish. Cruz along the near boards, near circle. He gets rubbed off the play there. They're still battling. Puck loose in the slot. Firing a shot and fanning on it. Now going out with a breakaway. Adam Rifle coming in. Fires a shot. Sticked into the near corner. On that breakaway attempt by Adam Rifles. He's knocked down, slow to get up along the Detroit boards. Now puck loose along the Chicago boards inside the far boards in the Cougar zone. Play getting a little chippy here. Cougars looking to clear, and they do. Laukkanen feeding it into the slot. Van Dyke centering attempt loose. Laukkanen has a rebound, and he's knocked down. Van Dyke threw that puck in the slot. Laukkanen had a crack at it, unable to get it by goaltender Dean Buchholz. And so we are knotted up inside the Detroit zone with the Cougars leading 2-0, 11:54 to play. All right, face off to the left of goaltender Buchholz. Cougars look to win the draw. Lenzi punches it forward to the net, intercepted by Jennings, and moved ahead into the Chicago zone. Puck thrown on net, and Martinovic decides to hold on rather than have a forward coming Fighting Irish player steaming inside his crease. He decided better to hold on and have a face-off to his right. Now Lenzi on the draw. And getting tossed from the face-off was Blackburn. Now Sewell will come in for Detroit. Lenzi wins the draw. Puck intercepted temporarily. Van Dyke shoveling it ahead to Delbrustein. Delbrustein near circles. Fires a shot and a nice save. Rebound attempt. Rifled wide by Lenzi into the near corner. Here comes Detroit. What a series of events there for the Cougars. Throwing it into the far corner, however, is Detroit's number 8, Johan DeJong. And fired a shot. That goes over the glass into the slot area. Firing a wrister. And making the save was Martinovic. Puck along the near boards, kept in by Hayes. And then comes outside the zone. Delbrustein skating in. Got Van Dyke over in the far circle. Fires a shot. And what a tremendous save. And it rolls into the net. Let's see what the call is here. No, referee blew it dead. What a save by Buchholz. An incredible save. Take a look at the replay, folks. He did a roller coaster save on the shot by Van Dyke. Unreal. That was incredible, folks. And the whistle sounded, so the puck, even though it slid into the goal afterwards, the whistle had already sounded. What a tremendous save. That is the best save I've seen all year, folks. On that play by Buchholz, keeping his team still in the game, only trailing 2. But they have to get some offense generated here. All right, now the referee is at the scorer's box. Not sure if a penalty was called. Well, it appears to be the gate to the Cougars side is open in the penalty box. So we're going to wait and see who the call is on. 2-0 Chicago with 10:52 to play here in period number 3. On a miraculous acrobatic save there by Dean Buchholz on that 2-on-1 attempt for the Cougars. All right, long discussion there by the referees with Cruz and Van Dyke. And again, the penalty box door on the Cougars side still remains open at this juncture. Now Van Dyke going over to talk to Brad Stofers to let him know the situation. Now both penalty box doors are open. The only thing is there aren't any players inside of them. DeJong going into the box for the Fighting Irish. Heading into the box will be Delbrasine for the Cougars. So we'll have coincidental penalties there. And now DeJong, looks like he had his sentence commuted, or he was the wrong player. And looks like we got the right player this time. It's Blackburn. So Blackburn going to the box for Detroit. And again, Delbrasine in the box for the Cougars. He was asking for a water bottle and just out of his reach. Off the glass and back in. All right, face-off inside the Detroit zone to the left of goaltender Dean Buchholz. Cougars win the draw. Shot on net. Over the head of goaltender Buchholz, goes along the near boards. Janjic trying to force it in there. Now the puck comes loose. Laukkanen will have to chase after it, and his defense partner Norman will pick it up in the near circle, flip it back the other way. No player available. Janjic with a heavy hit along the far boards on Barabish. That was on Jacob Smith, I should say. Now in the far corner, 4-man battle ensues. Puck comes loose. Detroit looking to get it back to the point. Unable to so far. Puck still in the far corner. Now Henry Laukkanen will take it, chip it up along the far boards. Peters looks to chip it out, unable to. Norman will have to chase after it in the near corner. And puck still inside the Cougar zone. Detroit putting on good pressure to keep it in, but the Cougars are keeping them on the perimeter still. Peters, this time he's able to flip it, but it hits a glove on the Cougars side. And that'll be a stoppage of play. And it looks like we're going to get a penalty. Slashing penalty on Mays for flipping the stick of Peters. He'll go to the box. Power play time for the Cougars. They're 1 for 4 on the power play. This will be their 5th attempt. So Kyle Mays with slashing, and the Cougars will go to the power play, already up 2-0 with 9:49 to play. Face off inside the Detroit zone to the left of Buchholz. Cougars win the draw. Van Dyke gets it back to the far point. Beltrami back to Van Dyke. Beltrami over to the slot, back to the far point. Van Dyke on the far boards. That's Scheffler. Beltrami, slot, fires, tip, score! There was a couple sticks there. Let's see who gets credit for it, but I believe it was deflected into the net either by Lindsay or Health. Or Scheffler, I should say. I'm going to say it was Lindsay, unless the official scorer proves me otherwise. So I'm going with Lindsay on the deflection, as you saw in that replay there. And another power play goal for the Cougars. Now they're 2 for 5 on the evening. Cougars had 2 power play goals yesterday. Oh, they're not saying it was deflected, so it's going straight to Beltrami. All right, so Anthony Beltrami, the goal scorer, for the Cougars on the power play. 9:23 to play here in period number 3. Cougars now in a commanding 3-0 lead. Cruz centering attempt, tip shot into the net. Knocked into his own net by a charging Nolan Jaszewski. And now Martinovic without his stick. Now he's able to corral it. Janzik going after the puck. Beltrami has it for the Cougars, flipping it over to the far boards. Centering pass attempt out of the reach of Adam Rifle. Cougars look to regroup. Beltrami getting it ahead. Now that's number 15, I believe that's Kowalczyk. No, 16, that's Rifle in the near corner. Detroit taking possession, but the puck gets deflected into the netting. And let's see, we're going to have a face-off outside the Detroit zone in front of the Detroit bench. With 8:34 to play. Here in period number 3. All right, face-off will go at center ice. All right, puck at center ice. Dombrowski for the Irish. Flips it in, but the Irish were offsides on the play. So we'll redo the face-off. All right, face-off inside, just outside the Cougar zone. Carrying it in is Eric Norman at the far point. Coming in, far circle, Brendan Peters. Now he goes to the far corner. Scheffler will join him. Gets bumped off the play by Anderson, and now Scheffler, he's going to go off for cross-checking or roughing, one of the two. And Scheffler didn't like getting roughed up on the play there. There you see, it was an offensive opportunity nullified by the actions of Scheffler. Scheffler will go to the box. 2 minutes roughing. And power play time now for Detroit. They need a goal badly. This will be their 5th power play attempt. They are 0 for 4. Face-off will come down inside the Cougar zone. To the right of goaltender Luke Martinovic. Detroit wins the draw, fires a shot from the near point. Dombrowski's shot gets deflected into the far corner, into the netting, and we'll hold on for another face-off. All right, now the referees are going to talk things over, making sure. Well, the referees skating over to the Detroit bench. Oh, the clock is running. So there's an issue with the clock running. All right, now the clock has stopped. 7:55 showing on the clock. Behind his own net, Lenzi flips it out of, clears all the way down inside the Detroit zone with 1:40 remaining on the power play for Detroit. I should say 1:40-ish since the clock was running. Mays carrying it into the zone. Jaszewski fires it over to the far boards. Sewell fires a shot on net. Glove save by Luke Martinovich, and he holds on 3-0 in favor of the Cougars. 7:23 to play here in period number 3. This is Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. Thanks for tuning in, folks. All right, face-off. Janjic looking to corral the puck. Eric Norman finally able to get a hold of it, and he clears it all the way down inside the Detroit zone where Dombrowski will take the puck behind his own net. And having his stick knocked out was by number 13, Jaszewski, on the near boards inside the Cougar zone. And he loses the puck. Luke Borth goes after it inside the near corner of the Cougar zone. Puck battle ensues. Taken out then by Jaszewski. Now Cruz has it for the Irish. He gets bumped off the play, and the puck gets cleared. Play getting a little chippy here, so keep an eye out. Oh, falling down, catching a rut there was Dombrowski from the pass attempt from goaltender Buchholz. Got his skate caught in a rut, and he would fall down. Luckily, he wasn't injured on that play, so he's able to get to the bench. Behind his own net, up along the near boards. Out to center ice, intercepted by Bishop of the Cougars, and he throws it back inside the zone. And that'll just about kill off the power play for Detroit as both teams are back at full strength. Now headman pass, centered, knocked down by Bishop was Jacob Smith, interrupting that offensive rush by Smith for Detroit. Here comes Lenzi. Gets around one man, backhand shot off the post! No goal! Lenzi with a backhander rattled off the post, went through the other crease. No goal. It's amazing that puck did not go in the net. What an opportunity for Mike Lenzi. And a great individual effort, but denied by the goaltender's best friend, the post. And his other best friend, the crossbar, nods in agreement. All right, Dombrowski fires a shot wide of goaltender Martinovich from the corner. Puck is thrown on net by Nicholas Fernandez. And Martinovich will hold on for the faceoff. Cougars up 3-0 here with 5:11 to play in period number 3. If Detroit wants any chance to get into this game, one thing they'll have to do here is win the draw and generate an offensive chance. They win the draw, but unable to get set up on offense, and the Cougars look to clear. Cougars gain possession along the far boards. Out to center ice connection to Brandon Bayer. Unable to make a connection. That's Mitch Bayers. Unable to make a connection, so the faceoff will come back down inside the Cougar zone. 4:56 to play. The faceoff to the right of goaltender Martinovich. Detroit wins the draw, gets it to the point. Hayward slides it behind the goal line. Stick handling now. Firing a shot was DeJong, or a pass attempt towards the slot. No one home to answer. DeJong will skate after it. Throws it to the near board. Hayward pinching in from his defensive post. Puck escapes. Dombrowski, however, is able to gain control for the Irish and flip it to center ice. Now that puck is intercepted by Adam Rifle. Good defensive effort there. And coming in with a check was Anderson on Rifle. As scrum ensues. Puck goes inside the Irish zone. Dombrowski behind his own net. Throws it along the far boards. Kept in at the far point by Micah Hawk. Now it's pinned along the boards by Lindsay and Anderson, and a whistle sounds as there's a Detroit player in the corner, far corner, who is in some distress. He is not. He is in some distress. He's moving his legs, but he's in much pain, lying down on his stomach in the far corner. Training staff out to take a look at the player. .406 to play in period number 3. With the Cougars up 3-0. So now let's see if we can get a look at the player who's shaken up for the Irish. I believe that's Dombrowski, number 17. He's been a steady player on the back line for the Irish this whole weekend. And he is holding, well, it's hard to say what ails him, but he's in much pain as he heads to the Detroit bench. Training staff will take a look at him. All right, let's see where the face-off, we believe, will be inside the Detroit zone to the left of goaltender Dean Buchholz when play resumes with 4:06 to play. Beltrame going to the bench, and coming on will be Micah Houck. Henry Laukkanen grabbing some bench. So Norman and Micah Hawk will be your defensemen for the Cougars. Brennan Gestrich at center. And he wins the draw. Norman fires a shot, goes along the near boards inside the Detroit zone. Detroit looks to clear. Puck shot up along the near boards, trying to reach Blackburn. And we have a collision along the near boards. And Brennan Gestrich gets bumped up off the play there by Blackburn, but not before throwing the puck inside the Detroit zone. 3:40 to play here. Cougars up 3-0. Again, keep your eye out for chippy play. These two teams, as the periods progressed yesterday, got into some very chippy play. And with Detroit trailing by 3, you have to look out. Hayes shooting from the slot. Puck gets knocked into the corner. Far corner battle comes along to the far point. Jennings throws it on net. Stick aside to the near boards by Martinovich. And the Cougars looking to clear, unable. Now on the near boards, shovel it out to center ice. And Gestrich dumps it inside the Detroit zone, and he'll go off for a change as the Cougars just looking to limit offensive opportunities now for Detroit. Peters coming in alone. He stole the puck at center ice, fires a shot, scores! Brennan Peters with the steal at center ice, gets around 2 defenders and fires the puck between the legs. Here you see the play. Peters, it's around 2 defenders, coming in alone in the slot, puts it between the pads of Buchholz and Brendan Peters with the 4th goal of the game for the Cougars as they lead 4-0. 2:44 to play here in the 3rd period. So if the game wasn't over before, it definitely is now, unless Detroit comes up with a flurry of activity. Now the only drama left is whether or not the Cougars can keep the shutout for goaltender Luke Martinovich. Luke Borth with the puck. Now Janjic coming in along the far boards inside the Detroit zone, throws it behind the Irish net. Adam Rifle skate after it in the near corner. Kept in at the near boards by Peters. Rings it around to the far corner. Blackburn will take it for Detroit. Throws it out to center ice. That puck is taken by Borth. Not out, however, still inside the Cougar zone. And gets chipped up into the rafters here at the Leaf Center. And there will be a face-off inside, I believe inside the Cougar zone, with 2:35 to play. And Detroit trailing 4-0. All right, now we have a conference at the scorer's booth again. I don't know if it's a time clock management issue again. The referee's talking it over with Coach Dan Vasquez of the Irish. And then coming on to have a word with Coach Stofers on the Cougars side. And again, it might have something to do with the timing. I know there was a running clock for a little stretch there at between the 7 and 8 minute mark. So now we're looking to see if they're doing anything with it or if they're just going to keep the time as it is. As it is, it's 4-0 Cougars. Scoreboard clock shows 2:35 to play. And I don't know what remedy they're looking for here from the scorer's table. So they are running down the clock. Not exactly sure. Before they had a running clock, they were running out of time. Now they purposely ran down the clock to 2:10 from 2:35. So 25 seconds just ran off the clock. In any event, puck inside the Cougar zone, flipped on net from the far point by by Stephen Moore. And Luke Martinovich makes the glove save and easy and holds on, as well as a face-off to his right. Cougars win the draw. Norman clears. Skating after with a head of steam is Brennan Gestrich. Gestrich tries to get around one man, and Buchholz sticks it into the far corner. Taken down with a heavy hit. Centering attempt, trying to get it over to Kowalczyk. And unable to make the connection. Detroit looks to clear. They do. Carrying it in is Hayes. Hayes, backhander onto the net. Martinovich will hold on with Arnold coming in. Looking for a rebound attempt, as well as number 19, Anderson. Hard charging on Martinovich, who was clearly freezing the puck. And Detroit getting a little closer, bearing in on Martinovich in an obvious frozen puck situation. Cougars didn't like that too much. 1:30 to play here, period 3. Cougars up 4-0. They look to hold on and keep the goose egg on the Detroit side of the scoreboard. And coming in to take the face-off now will be Brennan Peters. No, it'll be Adam Rifle. Rifle wins the draw, but the Detroit takes possession behind the goal line inside the Cougar zone. Norman backhands the puck out to center ice. Hayward will chase down for Detroit. Minute 18 remaining in the game. Puck inside the zone. Janzik tried to center for Peters, and Jennings will take that away for, that's Hayward, I should say, for Detroit. No, that is Jennings. Jennings throws the puck inside the Cougar zone. Eric Norman will flip it around to the far corner, near corner, Mika Hawk. Out to center ice, Hayward. Now to Barabish. Oh, he's bumped off the play. A nice check by Peters there. And Norman gets knocked down by Sewell. And Norman takes a number. And now again, play getting chippy along the benches. Referees have to keep an eye on things. 33 seconds remaining. Puck inside the Detroit zone. Jennings behind his own net. Puck flipped up to Sewell inside the slot. Madonia looked to throw it into the near corner for the Cougars. And Borth tries to clear it out, unable to. Madonia, he gets rubbed off the board on a heavy hit there by Sergei Arnold. Now the puck going down, 1 second remaining, and time expires. And Madonia going after it with Sewell. Now the referees quickly intervene, and the players will go to each respective side. So a little chippiness towards the end there, but the end result, the Chicago Cougars 4, the Detroit Fighting Irish 0, shutout for goaltender Luke Martinovich, and an impressive offensive performance by the Chicago Cougars. So the Cougars will have their center ice appreciation moment for their fans here as soon as Detroit clears the ice. Coaching staff shaking the hands with the referees. And there you see the Cougar players acknowledging the home crowd here at the Leafs Ice Center here in West Dundee, Illinois. All right, so that's your final score. Chicago Cougars 4, Detroit Fighting Irish nothing. The Cougars move to 6-2 on the season, 12 points. And the Fighting Irish fall to 1-8 on the season with 2 points. Thanks for watching Chicago Cougars hockey on the Fast Hockey TV network, powered by the Illinois Media School. For Eric Willowite, for Brian Singelman, Chris Hamilton, this is Eric Willowite saying so long and see you next time on Chicago Cougars hockey.